Okay, so last time when we were discussing about the direct object pronouns for the 9th standards, I told you that when you are talking about a single verb in the sentence, that is the verb is a single word, you are placing the direct object pronoun before that single verb. Okay, now last time we saw the application of four types of direct objects, that is me, te, nu and vu. Now today let's look at the actual applications of what you get for your exam. What you get for your exam is only le, la, l apostrophe and le. Okay, so let's look at this. Noah tells Sophie. Noah dit à Sophie, le professeur regarde Leo. Now, Noah is telling Sophie that the professor is looking at Leo. Now, Leo is a third person here. Okay, it's not like Noah is talking to Leo and saying the professor is looking at you. No, Noah is talking to someone else and saying the professor is looking at Leo. So in English, you would say the professor is looking at him, right? But you want to replace this Leo. So this Leo is the direct object here because the action of looking is happening on Leo. So he becomes the object. He is masculine singular. So you will have to replace him with le. The masculine singular direct object pronoun is le. And where do you place it? Before the verb. Okay, so it is placed here before the verb. It becomes le professeur le regarde. Okay, le regarde looks at him. This le here becomes him. Okay, now if Leo is telling Noah, le professeur regarde Sophie. The teacher is looking at Sophie now. So again, the action is the same of looking. Sophie becomes the object, okay, because she is the one who's being looked at. She is receiving the action. So Sophie now is feminine singular, so you cannot put la, you have to put la. Okay, when you want to say the teacher is looking at her, so that la is again placed before the verb. Now, if you have another girl in the class named Sasha, so Sophie tells Sasha, le professeur regarde Noah et Leo. So the professor is looking at Noah and Leo. Now, if you want to remove this Noah and Leo from the sentence, what will you say? The professor is looking at them, right? So now how do you say that them in French? It is les. Okay, there is only one plural direct object pronoun, that is les. So you don't have to concern yourself with the gender when it comes to plural. Okay, just like in English, there is only one them. It is used for both males as well as females. So the same thing now, you will have to replace the direct object because the action of looking is happening on them, right? On Noah and Leo, so they become the direct object. You have to replace it now. They are masculine plural, so you have to replace it with le. And where do you place that le? Again, before the verb. I've used similar sentences just to show you the application of the different kinds of direct object pronouns, and so that you get the rule of placement as well. Okay, so now we've seen one sentence of each of the different direct objects. Now, you need to understand that in the examples I've given you, I've just used persons, right? I've just used names of people. Now, direct objects are not only used for people, okay? They are used for all kinds of objects. Whatever the object may be in a sentence, it can be replaced with the direct object. So look at this sentence. Leo mange le pain chaque matin. So Leo becomes a subject here because he is doing the action of eating. Mange becomes the verb because it is the action, and le pain becomes the object here. Okay, subject is Leo, mange is the verb, le pain becomes the object because it is receiving the action of being eaten. The action of eating is happening on the bread. Okay, so le pain, bread becomes the object here. If you want to say Leo is eating it every morning, how will you say that? Now, le pain here is the direct object which is masculine singular, has to be replaced by le. Remember, masculine singular is replaced by le, feminine singular is replaced by la, and either of the plural, that is masculine or feminine plural, is replaced by le. Okay, now the placement rule is before the verb. If it's a single verb in the sentence, direct object is placed before the verb. So it becomes Leo le mange chaque matin. Okay, next one. Sophie perd la bouteille. Perd is to lose. Okay, so Sophie loses the bottle. If you want to say Sophie loses it, okay, Sophie loses it, how will you say that? La bouteille is here the direct object because it is the action of being lost is being performed on the bottle, right? So it becomes the object. It is feminine singular now, so it is replaced by la. And where do you place that? Before the verb. So it becomes Sophie la perd, becomes Sophie loses it. Okay? Then, Noah ouvre les fenêtres car il fait chaud. Noah is opening the windows because it is hot. Okay? So, les fenêtres here becomes the object because the action of opening is happening on the windows. Okay, the windows are receiving the action of being opened. So they become the object. If you want to say Noah is opening them because it is hot. Okay, so you will replace it by les now because you're talking about something that is plural here. Okay, and where will you place that direct object les? Since it's a single verb, you have to place it before the verb. It will become Noah les ouvre car il fait chaud. Okay, Noah is opening them because it is hot. Please don't make the mistake of the rewriting what you are replacing in the answer. Okay, you are replacing it, you are not rewriting it. Okay, replacing meaning you don't rewrite it in your answer once you have used the pronoun. Now, you have learned the placement rule when you have just a single verb in the sentence. Now, what happens when you have two verbs in the sentence? You have learned certain tenses so far. Passé récent you have learned, right? You have learned futur proche where there are two verbs. So passé récent is venir is conjugated, right? And then you have whatever verb in the full with the in between. Futur proche you have aller which is conjugated and then the full verb, right? If you are using the verb aimer, it can be conjugated and then a full verb. If you are using devoir, okay, vouloir, pouvoir, any of these conjugated and then a full verb. So what do you do in such a case? Where do you place the direct object? In such a case, you are placing the direct object before the full verb. Okay, whenever you have one conjugated, one full, the direct object is placed before the full verb. So Leo aime faire son devoir. Now, son devoir here is the object, obviously, because the action of being done, Leo likes to do his homework. So the action of being done is falling onto the homework. So that becomes the object. Now, can you see here that aime is the conjugated verb here? Conjugated from aimer and faire is full. Leo likes to do. Okay. So, where will you substitute this son devoir with le, obviously, because it is masculine. The question is, where do you place the le? You will place it before the full verb. When there's one conjugated, one full, the direct object gets placed before the full verb. Okay, so it becomes Léo aime le faire. Then Sophie vient d'aider Léo et Noah. Sophie has just helped Leo and Noah. If you want to say Sophie just helped them, how will you say that? This is obviously the direct object now because the action of helping is falling on these two. So they become the object. Now, they are plural, so you have to replace it with les. And where is that les placed now? Vient d'aider. Vient is conjugated, aider is full. Okay? Don't think of it as you're placing it between the two. Don't do that because then you'll get confused for this kind of sentence. Remember, you are placing it immediately before the full verb. So it becomes Sophie vient de les aider. This apostrophe will go and become de because now it is being followed by a consonant. Okay? Next one. Noah veut ouvrir la fenêtre car il fait chaud. So, Noah wants to open the window. In the previous sentence, previous slide, it was Noah is opening the window. It was a single verb. It was just ouvrir. Now I've made it Noah veut ouvrir. He wants to open the window. So how will you do that? It is obviously the object because the action of opening is happening on the window. It is feminine singular, so you will have to use la. Where do you place the la? You have to place it before the full verb. Na, which is the full verb here. Ver is vouloir conjugated and ouvrir is full. So you have to place it before the full verb. Now, when you place it like this, as ver la ouvrir, can you see that the A and the O are clashing? And when you have a clash of vowels, you have to substitute the first one with a apostrophe. So it becomes Noah veut l'ouvrir. You cannot say Noah veut la ouvrir. It is Noah veut l'ouvrir car il fait chaud. Okay? Now, the last placement rule is in the case of passé composé. What do you do? On the previous, it was one conjugated, one full. In passé composé, both are conjugated because you have one auxiliary and you have one participle. So what do? You will place the pronoun before the auxiliary. Okay, that is before the first conjugated verb. Now, I've taken the same sentences as the previous slide, but I have only changed the tense. Okay, so we're not going to discuss why it's a direct object and all that, because the objects are the same as the previous sentences. I've only changed the tense to show you where you place the direct object. There is also one additional rule now, which happens only in the case of passé composé, only for direct object pronouns. Okay, so pay careful attention to this slide. One thing is that you place the pronoun before the auxiliary. Second thing is you have to agree the participle with what you are replacing. So this is only for the passé composé, because only in the passé composé do you have a participle. Okay, so if you are replacing something masculine singular, the direct object you are using is le, and you have to add nothing to the participle. Okay, these are the rules of agreement. If your object is feminine singular, you are replacing it with la, and to the participle you add an extra e. If it's masculine plural, you replace it with le, and to the participle you add an extra s. If it is feminine plural, you replace it with le and you add an extra es to the participle. So, Leo a fait son devoir. This is masculine singular, so you have to replace it with le. Now, passé composé, so you have to place it before the auxiliary. Now, the auxiliary here always comes first, so the auxiliary is a. When you put le and a, clash happens here, so the e is replaced by an apostrophe. It becomes Leo la fait. Now, what have you replaced? You have replaced something masculine singular. When you're replacing masculine singular, there is no extra agreement, so it remains as it is. Now, next one. Sophie et Sasha ont aidé Leo et Noah. Now, what are you replacing Leo et Noah as the direct object, which is masculine plural? So, which is the direct object you'll use? Le. Okay, and where do you place it now? Passé composé. So you have to place it. This is the auxiliary. This is the participle. You have to place it before the auxiliary. So it becomes Sophie et Sasha les ont aidés. Can you see the extra s that has been attached to the participle? Because this is passé composé and you have replaced the direct object. So you have to add an extra s because you have replaced something masculine plural. This is the agreement. Okay. And the last example, Noah a ouvert. Now this is the third version of the sentence I'm giving to you in the passé composé. Noah opened the window because it was hot. Okay. Noah a ouvert la fenêtre. Now la fenêtre is feminine singular you are replacing. You will replace it with la. And where do you place that la in the passé composé? Before the auxiliary, right? So you will place it here. Now a and a are clashing, so replace the first one with an apostrophe. So it becomes Noah l'a ouvert. Now feminine singular, remember you are also doing an agreement here with the extra e to the participle. Okay, so it becomes Noah l'a ouvert car il fait chaud. Okay, so these are the three rules that we've done. Let's quickly go through them. When you have a single verb, you have to place your direct object before the verb. Okay, when you have one conjugated and one full verb, you have to place your direct object before the full verb. Okay, and when you have a passé composé, that is both are conjugated, you have to place it before the first verb, that is before the auxiliary. Okay, and remember also passé composé direct object, you have to do something else. And what is that? You have to agree the participle with the object replaced. Okay, so that wraps up this topic of direct object pronouns. Which are the direct object pronouns, when you use the direct object pronouns, and how you place the direct object pronouns in the three different scenarios that you come across. I'm giving you a couple of exercises to do because this requires a little practice. Okay, there are 3 slides of exercises. Please copy them down and solve them. I will post another video of Solve with me where I will solve all these sentences using direct object pronouns. For now, take down these sentences from the slides and solve them on your own and wait for the next video where you can correct them. Till I meet you again, thank you very much. Take care.